Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Nonstop Talking with your girl here, Vivian Liu. Today is my last video of the 2025 year-end series. Today I will be discussing the best movies and TV shows I watched in 2025. I knew what would be number one, what would be like the best, the favorite. What was challenging was narrowing this list down. I consumed a lot of media in 2025, and I think like I was pretty nice in 2025 and rated a lot of things pretty highly. And I mean, it's not a bad thing, right, to have like a good reading and watching year. So yeah, with that said, to narrow down this list, I removed all the Chinese microdramas. That might be in a separate video, we shall see. I also removed like any ongoing series. For example, I still love Abbott Elementary, but it's shown up on the list more than enough times. I also tried to remove as many rewatches as possible, but I just felt like there were some that deserved to be on the favorites list, and I wanted to mention them. So I've narrowed this down to 15 titles. By the way, I have guests coming over for the weekend, so I am doing laundry right now so that they'll have like clean blankets, pillowcases, and whatnot for when they get here. And also very thankful that today is a snow day, so I am able to finish up this video without impeding into like work and school time. But yeah, let's get started. At number 15 is Trauma Code: Heroes on Call. This is a Korean drama. Does anyone remember watching like Princess Hours back in the day? Because I do, and I was really excited to watch another drama with I think he played like Prince Shin in Princess Hours, but wait, what was the actor's name again? Ju Ji-hoon. But yeah, so I was really excited to see him again. This drama focuses on like kind of like an unconventional doctor who joins like the trauma center of this like university hospital, and like his unorthodox method of doing things kind of creates tension but also brings good to the hospital. I just feel like I'm the type who really likes like, I wouldn't say they're like morally great characters, because they do have like high moral ethic grounds that they stand on, but more so I guess like the best way to describe it is like my way or the highway, take it or leave it, I am always right kind of characters that just like really stick to their guns. And I think he played this main role so well, and it was just a character archetype that I can like vibe with. There is no romance in this whatsoever. It's purely just a medical drama with a really good like cast ensemble, and they have like very solid chemistry with one another. So I do agree with some people that says that in terms of like Asian medical drama, this doesn't bring in anything new. There are a lot of, especially like in Korean medical dramas, there's always that like doctor, like I think another one that is like very similar is like Dr. Romantic, I think. So that character in like medical dramas exists and has always existed. But I watched this really early on in the year, and it felt refreshing to me, and I really enjoyed it. And it felt at that time different from other like things in Korean dramas that I was watching, and it hit, and I loved it. At number 14 is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This was obviously a rewatch. I've talked about this movie in my Christmas movie list videos of the past, but I don't know if it ever showed up on a favorites video. It might have. This might be a repeat, or it might not. I'm not gonna check. But I think what was just really great was I put this on while decorating the Christmas tree, and it just really like immediately put me in the holiday spirit. I felt like it was just what I needed at the time. This movie is funny. The jokes can be enjoyed by children and adults, and I think like the story and the plot, it still like works today. So it's kind of like ageless, timeless, in a sense. And I remember like when I was younger and going to like Universal Studios in Hollywood and going on the studio tours and being able to like see like the Grinch set, and or Who Town. And so I think this movie just also carries like nostalgia and joy and just really brings it in for like the Christmas vibes. And I just really needed that, and I just wanted to highlight and spotlight the joy that it brought me. At number 13 is My Fair Princess Season 1. So for my Taiwanese literature and movies class, I wrote my final paper on the romance author Chong Yao, and I specifically focused on the television adaptation of 还珠格格. There are like a few English names, like I said, My Fair Princess. There's also like Princess Returning the Pearl, Princess Pearl, but I'm just going to refer to it as 还珠格格. So because of that paper, I like rewatched the first season, and I will say like I see the show now differently as an adult, and those were some of the aspects that I dive into in my paper. But simply this Chinese drama is about Xiao Yanzi, who gets mistaken as the emperor's illegitimate daughter. The illegitimate daughter is actually Ziwei, and like in this mistaken identity, the fifth prince, who's beloved, starts developing feelings for her, and he knows like she is not his actual real sister, but they can't like reveal that to the emperor for fear that he might be upset that he's been lied to. And in the process, Kong and Ziwei starts developing feelings for each other. Kong is like the nephew of the favorite consort. His dad is also like part of the emperor's like council, and he himself is an emperor's bodyguard. And so for him, obviously, he can't just like go off with the commoner like Ziwei, even though she's not just a commoner, but she's hiding her real identity to protect her friend Xiao Yanzi. So it's super dramatic. There is obviously like romance, and then there's court politics, and I think and I talked about it in my paper, and it was such a long paper, but narrowing down my thoughts, like, I feel like what 还珠格格 did back then could never be repeated now. And there are a lot of things that like 还珠格格 achieved. And so it's kind of crazy. And I think it calls upon on such a different time, on such a nostalgic time. And this show literally catapulted the three, well, it's like actually technically two leading actresses, but then it's like noted as three because the third one actually becomes, I would say, probably the most popular, and then two of them, the mainline ones, get canceled. And I mean, I don't know. There's just so much history and legacy involved in this now. But I think like even rewatching it and seeing it with adult eyes, and even some of the moments that I was like cringe, I just had so much fun. And the second season is on my list. I've finished the final paper now, so there wasn't like a motivation to like watch the second season. But I think for like personal like journey, I will watch the second season. I will not watch the third. They changed the cast completely, no, and I will not watch the remake. Absolutely not. What I also want to note is that Xiao Yanzi is an orphaned street performer, so she doesn't know anything about court etiquette, which gets her into like a lot of like trouble, and it's just so many like hilarious antics because she's like fighting, jumping off trees and stuff, and so she's just such a beloved character, and I don't think anyone else besides Zhao could play her. And yeah, it's crazy because literally when the theme song hit, I just felt like the nostalgia just washing through me. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about it. Number 12 is Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. For my Taiwanese literature and film class, we watched a few of director Ang Lee's movies, of course, and one of them was Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. I would probably say Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, of the Chinese language films I've seen directed by Ang Lee, it's probably one of my favorites, and it's also a rewatch. I don't remember when I saw it. I don't think it was for high school. I think the best guess I can think of is I probably watched it during my undergrad for my Chinese food history class. Is probably my best guess, but it definitely was a rewatch the second time around for this class. And so in Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, we followed a retired chef who has kind of lost his sense of taste, right? And that's a big deal for a chef, even though he's retired. And he has 3 daughters who are very different and are like coming up on their like lives, romantic journeys, and career growth. And I really, like on a personal level, I really related to this film, just because I think it does such a great job in presenting not only Chinese culture, but like the family dynamic of it all, right? But I also think it did such like a beautiful job in like highlighting Chinese cuisine. Yeah, I think this movie did a great job in those things. And as a middle daughter, I really related to the middle daughter in this film. And yeah, there was just so many things that really connected with me. The movie will take you on a roller coaster of emotions, and the final twist I still remember to this very day. I think it was really good, and like I think from beginning to end it was just a very satisfying and pleasing film to watch. And like I said, just on a personal level, I just really related to a lot of it. Number 11 is Primo, and the reason why I wanted to talk about Primo is because it unfortunately gets axed after just 1 season, and I feel like not enough people know about it, and not enough people share the pain of knowing that there's no more Primo after starting it. And I just want more people to be on that same boat with me. I think I was like introduced to Primo as like a recommendation after watching this full, which I also think is hilarious. And Primo is just such a funny show with a lot of heart. It follows a Mexican-American teen growing up in Texas with a single mom and his 5 uncles. And it's just really sad to see so much potential go wasted. At number 10 is 10 Things I Hate About You. So 10 Things I Hate About You has been on my list for quite some time now, and it like showed up in a trivia question, and then one of like my high school friends talked about having just watched it, and I felt like it was a sign from above that it was finally time I watch 10 Things I Hate About You. And back in the day I actually saw like episodes of like the TV show adaptation, so crazy that I watched the TV show adaptation before the movie adaptation. But yes, so 10 Things I Hate About You is a modern retelling of William Shakespeare Taming of the Shrew, and it's about this new student, Cameron James, who like has a crush on like the popular girl Bianca, and in order for him to like take Bianca out on a date, her like antisocial older sister Kat needs to like be dating as well, so he hires like this bad boy by the name of Patrick to like woo Kat. And when people now say that they miss rom-coms, this is what they mean. They miss something of this caliber. Like 10 Things I Hate About You is such a perfect rom-com, and it's such a well done rom-com, and you just don't see that nowadays, unfortunately. And I think like the poem itself, like it's so good, and it's such like a memorable moment that people can like quote and remember. And all in all, like I really enjoyed watching 10 Things I Hate About You, and like to take this long to watch it, and then obviously to go into it with like a level of expectation and having it exceed that, just shows how great of a film it is. Number 9 is the first season of White Lotus. I was staying over at a friend's house for the weekend, and they were like, have you seen White Lotus? And I was like, no, not yet, but I've heard about how much it's like pushing the boundaries, so it's on my list. I am curious about it. And he's like, okay, cool, we're gonna watch the first season together. So we did that. And I have to say, like, so the show follows, at least the first season follows like a group of like rich elites traveling in Hawaii, and the show has so much to say and says it so well. The social commentary is just impeccable. Yeah, I think the casting was amazing, and I was just really mind blown by its ability to just do what it did. I felt like each character was really well written, and like there are just so many memorable scenes, and I feel like everyone who has watched this will probably take away one or more scenes that they'll carry with them, just because that's just how memorable certain moments were. Number 8 is Oshinoko, and this is actually a recommendation from the same friend who recommended me White Lotus. So that friend really knows my taste very well. But yeah, so Oshinoko. It's about an up-and-coming J-pop idol, Ai Hoshino. She secretly gives birth to twins, and these kids are actually in their past life her fans. And she like goes back into the entertainment business, hiding the fact that she has these 2 kids, and while the kids are still young, she gets murdered. The son, Aqua, knows that there's more to this than just the murderer that was arrested. There is a bigger mastermind, so he enters the entertainment business as an actor to find the truth. While his twin sister Ruby dreams of becoming a famous idol like her mom that passed away. The first season is really good, and I'm glad that like my friend who recommended it to me prefaced it with like, you have to get over the weird first episode, because it is really weird to think like, oh, you gave birth but your kids like remember their past lives. But yeah, so you have to get through that, and then you really get into like the murder mystery and like the commentary on like fandom and like idol culture. And it's crazy because like as a teen young adult, and I would say like even now, I am huge in like the fandom culture. I still very much call myself a fangirl, even though I don't have as much time, or I don't dedicate as much time as I used to with work and school and adulting. But yeah, it's just like a lot of the things it has to say is just very accurate and very true. And I did start on the second season, and unfortunately it's still talking about fandom culture and idol culture, but it really strays away from like the main plot and adds a lot more subplots. So I don't know where this direction will go. I know the 3rd season has come out, right? So I will get back onto it and see if it like, stop straying and like go back onto like the main path. But at least the first season was really good. Number 7 is Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. So the first Knives Out movie I thought was good. The second one it wasn't like my taste. I didn't like it much. And I would say like of the current release from this Knives Out franchise, The third movie is probably the best one. And I know, shocker. And I have to say it's kind of unfortunate because like there are definitely some casting mishaps. Sorry, I just sneezed. But holy cow, Josh O'Connor, the actor that you are amazing. I was so mind blown. Like, Josh O'Connor. Anyways, in this third film, Detective Blanc is back, and this time he is solving the murder of a Catholic priest. Regardless of some of my thoughts of the cast, it is pretty star-studded and a powerhouse cast at that. And I think just like once again, maybe like this is like the theme of things I enjoyed watching in 2025. This movie had things to say and it said it really well and it like popped off and did its thing. With that said, I think this third Knives Out movie had star power, had a lot of good twists and turns, so like solid storytelling, and just had a band of quirky characters that really relate to like people in modern day and current times, and it just worked. And in the end of the day, it was a whodunit story that kept my attention and kept me seated. And I feel like it's been a while since I've had a mystery that kept me entertained and thrilled. And so, good job. Number 6 is K-pop Demon Hunters. I watched the trailer for K-pop Demon Hunters and I was just like, oh, what is this campy movie that like is just using the popularity of like K-pop for views. So I originally had no interest in watching it, and then it like blew up and so many of my coworkers were watching it and talking about it, and a lot of their kids could not stop watching it and singing it, that I was like, okay, fine. And a lot of my friends were watching it at this time, that I decided to give it a try, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. That like when I was hanging out with another friend in New York and we were resting in the hotel, we actually played it in the background. So yeah, I ended up watching it twice, which is really rare for me because we've talked about this, that like I don't do rewatches much unless there's like a reason, and even so, like I don't do like immediate rewatches just because I like already know the story. Why would I immediately rewatch it? So I think that just shows the power of K-pop Demon Hunters bringing people together. If you don't know, and I feel like you already do know, K-pop Demon Hunters is about a K-pop girl group, a trio who uses their like singing and fighting skills to stop the demons from infiltrating the human world. It's fun. The animation is amazing. The soundtrack is just, I still have it on rotation, so I'm still listening to it. Overall, it's just a joyous time. Like I think it can be enjoyed by kids, but it can also be enjoyed by adults alike. I do have some issues with the plot, and I've talked about this with other people, but like my biggest one is like the way the relationship between the main character Rumi and her like mother figure Celine, like how that plays out, and everything was not, could have been better, but overall I think for what for like the amount of fun and joy it gave to people, and for such a great soundtrack, yeah, it really hit. And I am assuming in 2026 we are going to be blasted with even more Western K-pop themed movies and shows because of the unprecedented success of K-pop Demon Hunters, and like how it like reached the stage of being like a global phenomenon. Number 5 is History Season 2. After hating History Season 1, I was like, I don't know if I should continue, but I do want to continue because there were like stuff in the latter seasons that I wanted to watch. And I'm one of those people who have to do things in order, even if like you don't need like the previous ones to be like, even if they're like all standalones, like I need, if there's an order, I will follow the order. So I watched the second season and it ended up being so much better than the first. Sigh of relief. But yes, so the second season consists of like 2 stories. There is, what is it? Right or Wrong 是非, which I rated 4.5 out of 5, and Crossing the Line 越界, which I rated 5 out of 5. Crossing the Line specifically was really, really good. It follows the trope of like the bad boy versus like the studious student, and there's like a sport component, volleyball, and I think, oh, and then there's like a secondary couple who like falls into the trope of like step siblings. So it has a little bit of everything that like BL fandom people will pick up and enjoy. But yeah, so for me, I am a sucker for like the goody two shoes and the bad boy. And I think for a lot of people, they probably like the forbidden aspect of the second couple. And there is like I think it plays up to its tropes. And I think it does a lot of like fan service in a way, which is why it was so successful at the time that it came out. And there was like a fair amount of skinship. Like I can see why this did really well when it came out. And later I found out from Wikipedia that there was slated to be a movie, and we were robbed of the movie, and I feel like that is so unjust and unfair. And I hope that, I mean, it's impossible, but I don't know, maybe somehow randomly in the year 2026 we can finally get the movie sequel of Crossing Line. Like, crazy to think, but what if? Number 4 is a movie I watched in theater, and I watched it with a group of friends and we all walked out of it impressed, and that is Sinners. I think what Sinners did that was so amazing for me personally was that like it gave me a history lesson, and it made me want to look into it more, that I actually did more research on my own later on, and it became like a learning experience. And I love it when a movie can do that. And also, like, who doesn't love the handsome and talented Michael B. Jordan? Oh my god. In short, not to give any spoilers to people who haven't seen it, it's a vampire story, but also like so much more. There was such an attention to detail, and there was so much care given in like the storytelling, and the cinematography was just so like beautiful. Like, I don't know how to talk about movies, but this movie was just like, and like the soundtrack was also like, the songs was also amazing, and the way that they mix music and storytelling together was just stunning. I think in the end of the day, like, Sinners just deserves all the praise. Number 3 is Secrets Happened on the Lychee Island. The title spells it as lychee, but I personally say it as lychee. But that's just because I'm Kanto in background. But yeah, so anyways, the Chinese title is 荔枝树下日烈岛. I forgot which BL content YouTuber recommended this, but whoever did, thank you so much, because this was not on my radar whatsoever. And then it was recommended in one of your videos, and I decided to check it out, and like, this was so fucking good. At first, when you're looking it up on YouTube, it might appear seemingly to be like a school project production, but it's so much more than that. The story follows like a young man who is on an island and he is falling for his older brother's best friend. So you have like the innocence of first love. You also have like one-sided love, unrequited love, and like the hardship of that. And this was just done, like the love that is portrayed here is done in such a gentle, caring, and attentive way. And there's just so much beauty in all of that. I will say, like, watch the main story and just watch a little of the extras. There's a lot of extras, and I think it gets to the point where you're just like, okay, either this could have been added into like the main, or we really need to narrow down how much extras you're feeding into the audience. It was good at first, and now it's just maybe a little bit too much. But that's just my opinion. Maybe other people are like, no, we need even more content. And I understand that, like, the couple is so charming and they have such amazing chemistry, so other people might not be like, yeah, this is not excessive, it's not enough. Yeah. But I think in the end of the day, like, this was just so, like, I don't know how to explain it without like simplifying it with the word cute. And there's like a message that it starts off with in the beginning of the video and a message that ends off with at the end of the video. And there's, I don't know, it's just charming and endearing and beautiful and cute. Number 2 is, oh no, here comes trouble. So after waking up from a bus accident, after waking up from a coma caused by a bus accident. Why am I struggling with words? Pui-young, he develops a secret power of sorts where he can talk to the dead, and along with a rookie cop and his school rival, they help the spirits pass. Oh no, here comes trouble really shocked me at how at the end of it I was like adamantly recommending it to people, and how like I just couldn't put it down. Like I needed the next episode. And I needed to finish it. And I think that's why it's like high up on my list. I think each case and each spirit and the troubles that they are going through will hit everyone differently. There were some cases where like I emotionally related to it so much that I cried. And Pui-young's own struggle of like his loss and everything, it's just like this made me sad, and like not in a bad way, but in a very cathartic way. I was not anticipating the emotional roller coaster that this was going to take me on. I thought it was going to be like more fun and lighthearted from like things in the trailer. However, I think Sun Jinghua is just such an amazing and talented actor. And I know a lot of people online were hoping for a second season. I too would like a second season. I think a lot of fans did not get enough interaction between Pui-young and I can't remember his school rival, Chao Guangyan. Yeah. They have such like a bickering back and forth banter that is really adorable, and I think a lot of people hoped it would have developed into more, but this first season really focuses on like the power and like the spirits and the cases and the emotion. And yeah, I mean it's been quite some time now, so I doubt there will be ever a second season. But this would be something that I wouldn't mind seeing come back. For number 1, I am still at the cottage and I will not be leaving until we get the second season. I mean, what else could be in my number 1 spot besides Heated Rivalry? Like, what other show made me subscribe to HBO Max? What other show had me dying every weekend? Or like every week and like going to work and like talking to friends and trying to like find people in my real life to like talk about it with, and was like pushing this down on everyone's throat, because at that time I was like watching episodes weekly and patiently, not so patiently, waiting, and I just didn't have people in my real life who were watching it then. And then like what other show like could alter my like brain chemistry in such a way? Like I watched the show, rewatched the show, would scroll on Instagram for like fan edits. I was like home for the holidays, and like instead of like spending time with people, I was like in my room watching the show. And because I had it, one of the episodes came out like after Christmas, but I was already home like the week before, and so there was an episode that week too, and I was literally like in my car as someone else was driving, and like being like, I just need to watch this show for like the drive. So it just really consumed my life at the end of the year, and like to this moment I still like watch edits, and I still think about like rewatching the shows. So it's still consuming me, but I would say like less so since school has started and I need to get my life together. But I just, like I said, like this show altered my brain chemistry, and it's not going to be unaltered in any way, shape, or form. I had read the books before, and that's how I knew about and was excited for the adaptation. I think I would say like there are some moments where I think the show is better. Like I think the TV show adaptation did a better job of really like giving us Shane, and making us under Shane and his background a bit more. Because I remember reading the book and being like, oh, Shane is boring, Ilya's my favorite. And like Ilya's my favorite, and Connor's story like did such a good job. I mean, both like Hudson and like Connor, like they were just great, fantastic. The chemistry was just amazing, and like I was not expecting it to be as steamy as it would be. So like, wow, there too. And I think like it does that initially to like draw you in, but later on, like the storytelling, the emotion, the relationship, and all of that just like keeps you, right? And I will say one of my like small little complaints is like, Kip didn't need to be that buff. Did Kip need to be that buff? He is an art history graduate student working multiple part-time jobs. Like, what? That's like my only little complaint. Since school has picked up and like work is keeping me busy, I do have it on my plans where I'm going to reread the books, but also I want to reread them before the newest book comes out. I've already pre-ordered that. But yeah, I just want to say like Heated Rivalry had me, and a whole bunch of other people, let's be honest, in a chokehold. And like, I'm okay. This is where I want to be. Don't save me. I'm fine here. Well, I'm not fine, but I am fine. And so I don't see how anything else could ever touch Heated Rivalry and like what it did to me and my life. I didn't even really talk about it, but I'm just rambling now. So I think I should wrap all of this up. So that's it. Those are my top 15 best TV shows and movies I watched in 2025. Let's like have another fantastic reading and watching year in 2026. I've already read a lot in 2026, shockingly, and have loved quite a few things. So I'm excited to like keep this momentum up, because I just need a lot of escapism in our current day world, but also important to stay like up to date, know what's going on as well, can't escape too far. But yeah, that. Anyways, let's outro. Like, comment, subscribe. See you in my next video whenever that is. Bye!